Hi, everyone. Um, I'm Michael Clifton, and welcome to today's webinar, where we will learn how Certara's integral streamlines PK, PD workflows and ensures compliance with regulatory requirements. Before we jump into the presentation, there's a few things I'd like to share with you for webinar logistics. So this will be about a 30-minute webinar with additional time at the end for Q&A. If you experience technical difficulties, please message us during or using the chat. During the presentation, all participants are in listen-only mode. As a reminder, today's webinar is being recorded. We will email you and send you a link to the recording in the next few days. You have the opportunity to submit text questions using the chat pane in the control panel. We will answer your questions right after the main presentation. And we can begin. So my name is Michael Clifton. I'm the product owner for Certara's Integral, and I will we'll just kick things off here. So as clinical trials become more complex with the larger volumes of data, it's difficult to ensure the accuracy of your data and remain 21 CFR Part 11 compliant for regulatory submissions without a centralized repository. Certara's Integral is a cloud-based, SaaS-hosted, validated 21 CFR Part 11 compliant data and model repository with an intuitive user interface for collecting, managing, sharing, and storing multiple types of data sets for analysis. Because Integral is agnostic to the analytics and tools being used, i.e. Phoenix, SAS, R, Python, etc., this means you can connect, capture, visualize, and analyze data anytime, anywhere, while ensuring compliance guidelines are met. Here we have some of the key customer benefits. We'll start out with make data-driven informed decisions. We have one centralized repository that provides data integrity across all your analyses, ensuring all data is up to date. Improves PK biostatistics and clinical operational workflows. Integral is accessible through Phoenix platform or technology agnostic via the client application. It enables quick search and visualization of data, and it adheres to and transforms CDIS data standards into searchable content. Facilitates greater internal and third-party collaboration. Integral eliminates the need for secure file transfer protocol sites and email data exchange with vendors. With Integral, you can seamlessly share and report data with CROs and partners without the need for a VPN. Ensures data is reproducible, traceable, and secure. Integral ensures analysis reproducibility by saving a complete analysis as what's known as a save point in the repository. Integral is designed to version entire analyses, not just versions of files. We also have audit trails within Integral that create on-demand for files saved within the repository. This shows the who, when, why, and what for content history. Roles and permission groups can govern access in Integral and also include the ability to blind and unblind repository content. Removes IT burden at your organization. Integral is cloud hosted and validated by Certara prior to deployment of each release and removes this burden from your IT team. Insurance policy to successfully pass a US FDA data audit. Exchanging data directly in the repository results in a closed chain of custody and enhances traceability as well as audit readiness. So here we'll kind of touch on some of the technical infrastructure, key differentiator capabilities. First off, it's a 21 CFR Part 11 compliant cloud-based SaaS built in at the Amazon Web Services. So you can have multi-tenant, private tenant, or co-hosted. bolt-on compliance solutions to your existing computing environments, direct URL access, and authentication through Okta that allows a single sign-on. We have role-based access, such as specific user types or licenses that we provide: admin, user, partner, QA, and archivist licenses. We have permission groups that the customer can easily configure, which can include such permissions as being able to blind content. The Integral is configurable, where you can configure and automate particular folder structures that harmonizes with your storage and workflow needs. You can also configure metadata to facilitate searching and access control, and archiving directly in the working environment. For compliance of data, audit trails of files on demand provides a chain of custody for data origin. These are what we talked about before: the who, when, why, and what. Not only that, but since we allow versioning of files, we can also do comparisons, which allow for data file and program differences. We provide electronic signatures when users create, modify, or delete data. They have to sign. They have to provide an electronic signature, and part of it is included with the version control, traceability, and auditability of the data. We allow for dependencies, whereas the system will notify the user of any changes to data or programs which are being relied on by the analysis that was done. And you can also create linked copies that have a dependency. This way you can avoid data sets becoming stale. And then the centralized data repository, you have a single source of truth. This simplifies the management of reusable code, and the QC review process can be facilitated by file viewing, editing, and comparisons in the repository. Compatibility. Integral works with both cloud-based and on-premise computing environments. We support all modern operating systems like Windows and Linux. We're agnostic to analytical software being used, such as Phoenix, Piranha, SAS, non-mem, Python, etc. We have vendor-hosted benefits where validation is done by Certara, and integral updates are based on user feedback. We have maintenance support, professional training programs, and a 24/5 help desk. Rapid deployment. Integral can be implemented within a month. Collaboration. The system APIs and Certara's service group support custom integrations. We eliminate the need for STP sites, email data exchanges with vendors, and we provide collaborative working environments with both internal and external partners without VPN. Now, this slide here represents kind of a simplistic architectural diagram of how Integral works. When you start at the bottom, the laptop there, that's the user's workstation. The user would connect as they normally would to their computation environment, such as Phoenix and Piranha, SAS. User could then install Integral's client application that mediates the transfer of information between our AWS cloud and the computing environment that the customer is using. This allows you to move and synchronize data back and forth. You can see here, this the client application icon here under compute. The client app will allow you to sync back and forth. You can also connect directly to Integral's data repository through any web-based browser like Chrome, or Edge and Firefox. So now we'll begin the demo, and I just have to go over here, switch screens. Okay, so what we're looking at here, this is the Chrome browser for the Integral URL. So this is the login screen. I'll go ahead and click next, provide my password, and sign in. And you can see here, here's the home screen for Integral, which provides, a folder structure here you can search through, as well as a, filtered section for a particular folder that you want to work on. Today, we'll actually be working on this folder that I've already created, but I'll just kind of give a brief overview of each of these modules that you see here up at the top. So currently, we're in the home screen where all of your data and folder structures are displayed. We have a search module here where you're able to search the content of all files that you have within the Integral repository. For admins, we provide a security module where you can manage your users' security roles based on the licenses that you purchase from Certara, as well as create permission groups, so you can allow certain users to have access to only certain folders. We have a compare module here that allows users to easily visualize the differences between text files or CSV files. We have a copy link module here where this is where you can, any files that you have stored in the system, you can create a copy and place that anywhere else in the system that you have access to. You can also create a linked copy, which allows users to update the source file, which would then automatically update the linked copy that you created somewhere else in the system. And we have this administration module here, which allows users to control the how the folder structures and metadata operate within Integral. And here we also have a system audit report, which allows your administrators or QA users to see what changes users have done within the system, such as any security changes, any changes to folder structures or properties, if they've deleted a root folder, if they've downloaded files. You can track all of that within the system audit report here. For today's demo, we're going to do a basic study folder creation and analysis, as well as an update to that analysis. So you can see here, there's a refresh icon. So if you, if you made a change within here, you can easily just click refresh, and it'll, refresh how the screen looks. We have a simple filter here where you can just simply type in the folder's name and it brings it up. We also have this filtering function here, which allows users to get a bit more details. You can search for certain folder types, as well as properties related to those folder types. And when you apply that filter, it will display only those folders that match that criteria. You can also set up your favorited folders. So the one I created for today, 27, I want this to be one of my favorite folders. So you can see here, if you click on this ellipsis menu right next to this root folder, you can select add to favorites. And now when you select that, you can see it'll display the folders that you favorited here. So if you want to create a new study folder, there's a plus icon right here up at the top. So you would select add folder. Here you can pick the particular folder type you would have. Starting out, customers will basically have a library folder and a study folder to choose from, but with your administrator and how they set things up, you can create multiple types of folders to start with. You can see here there's multiple here, but we're just going to select study, and then you can enter in the name of the folder, and you can see here you can enter in certain properties. So say you were, this is a clinical study that it's a crossover randomized trial, the name of the compound that you're analyzing. Is this a phase 1 study? You know, you can enter in anything you need for these properties, and these properties are specifically associated with a study folder type. If you were to select a different folder type, it would bring up a different set of properties you would want to fill in. So once you fill in all of these required fields and you're happy with how this looks, then you can hit apply, and it'll generate this folder here. And you can see here when it creates the folder, it creates this basic folder structure within it. And you know, for a study, the basic folder structure is a data folder where you can, you know, store your source data for your analyses. This is the analyses folder for what we called save points. That's going to be the analysis that you create when you start your work, and then any documentation like protocols or statistical analysis plans could be stored in, say, this area in this folder here. And just to kind of give you a brief overview of how these folders look and the information provided with them, you can see here in this right panel, we have these different tabs. First tab shows the contents of this particular folder. You can see here it has all of the subfolders listed. If you go to properties, you can see that I'm the owner of this folder, when it was created, and all of the particular properties associated with this folder. Under the history tab, this is where the auditing trail tracks everything. You can see that it'll list events here of what was done. So it shows when I added the folder, as well as, you know, see here, I had removed some subfolders that weren't necessary earlier. So it kind of shows, you know, I deleted this subfolder earlier. All of that's tracked, as well as any changes to the properties for this particular folder. And you'll see the same for files too, and I'll show that here in a minute. I just want to go through the rest of these tabs. You have a permissions tab, which basically shows you which users can access this folder and what properties they have associated with this folder. So you can see there's a long list here of users and the permissions they have available for this folder. And then CDisk tab, this is for data mining purposes. Basically, any CDisk files that you have, like a PC or PP file, if you have those stored in Integral, those can be will be shown here as whether they're a CDisk file or not, and you can apply a certain standard to them, whether SDTM or send. And once those get applied, you'll get a status of whether that file was successfully data mined or not, and you'll also be provided a log for that CDisk file. So the main focus for today is going to be an analysis. So say you received your source data from, say, the clinic or some other company you're working with. I need to upload that data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the data folder here. I'm going to go to the ellipsis menu and select. You can see here there's a long list of items you can choose from here. You can create a subfolder. You can edit properties, you know, for this particular folder if there are any available. You can also delete this subfolder. You can upload files to the subfolder, download any files, and if you choose, you could also lock any files within this folder to keep those files from not being changed. But first, we're going to touch on uploading. So I'm going to upload our data set, and there's two ways you can do that. You can either drag and drop the file that you have into this box here, or if you want, you can just click on this, and it will provide, all right, it'll you know, allow the user to select the folder that they want to retrieve the data from. So here I'm going to select Clayton. So I'm going to select open. You can see it lists the file here. You can also upload multiple files at the same time if you wish. But here we're going to focus on just one. So after you've done this, you click upload. And the electronic signature asks the user for a reason. So I'll just provide upload data for analysis, sign, enter my credentials. And you can see here the file is now uploaded to Integral. And you can see all the properties associated with it. And some of the properties that were inherited from the root folder when this file was uploaded. Now, for a CSV file and any text files, users will be able to view the contents of the file within Integral. So if you click on the Contents tab, you can see here are the contents of the particular file. And you can see we have this split up where you can search the data just going by page to page. You can also select how many items you want displayed. So actually, I want to display all the rows of data here, so you can easily just scroll up and down. If you want to make any edits to this file, you can just double-click here, and you can actually, make changes to it, and that would also and you can click update. It would also require electronic signature and would be tracked in the audit trail. I'm not going to do that for today's demo, but just to kind of give you an idea of what users can do here. And then you can also sort these columns or filter on the columns. So very similar to just filtering features in general. So I'll just scroll through here. You can see here for files, the audit trail captures revision here that this is the first revision of this file. You can see it was inserted and the reason that I entered earlier. And then you can see any files associated or any properties associated with this file. Another good thing about files and analyses is if you want, a user could provide a status. Now you can see here when you click on the ellipsis menu for this file, there's a change status option where you can select draft, final, reviewed. It's up to the user, and these status values can also be changed in the administration module. But that I'll save that for another training session. But that's definitely good for tracking and auditing purposes. Okay, so now what we'll do is we want to start an analysis. So I'm in the Google Chrome browser, but what I want to do is I want to use my Phoenix when on Lin to do an analysis using this source data file. So what I have here is open is the Phoenix software, and there's an Integral plugin that gets provided with your Phoenix. When that is installed, you can see there's this menu option up at the top. When you select that, you can bring up the browser here, and this is basically just like the Chrome browser, where you'll be able to scroll through all of the data within your Integral repository. I'm going to filter to my folder here, demo 27. You can see here's the data set. Let me expand this. So there's the data set I uploaded through the Chrome browser. But now I want to do an analysis within Phoenix. So what you do here is you go to the analyses folder. In the ellipsis menu, you would select add save point. So once you do that, this menu option is brought up. and you just type in the username, or not username, I'm sorry, the name of the analysis. So I'm just going to call this test 1. And then you can select your source data, and then you could click submit. You can see it is bringing in the, it's doing, it's creating a project file, and it's bringing in the source data that you chose for your analysis. You can see here it has units row. So I'm going to go ahead and import that. I'm going to minimize this. I have Clayton here. So I'm going to perform a quick analysis of this file, set all my variables, and run this NCA. Okay, so my analysis is done, and now I want to save my results back to Integral. So you can see here in the Integral menu here, you have Save, Save As, and Add Selected Item. We're going to focus on Save. So when I click on Save, it'll bring up this window here, which has the information for this particular analysis and any properties associated with it. Under the Save Option tab, this is where users can actually import the results that they just generated within Phoenix, import those to Integral, so you have them all captured under the same save point. So you can see here, I already have some items selected. There's a settings within Phoenix you can do, which will kind of auto select some of these files and the type of file type you want it imported into Integral as. So for this particular file or result, it's going to be called final parameters pivoted, and I want it imported into Integral as a text comma delimited file. And I can just show you manually real quick what that would look like, say for this summary table here. If I were to select that and just enter a name, and then select the available formats here. So which I'll just select text comma delimited for this case. And you can see here this result gets highlighted once you have all of these set up. Under the dependency tab, this shows you, basically that this was the source file we used. This is what's being used as the dependency for this analysis. So there's really nothing we really need to do here. We can go ahead and click the next arrow, which brings you to this confirmation screen, where you can either, go ahead and finish your analysis, or if you want the analysis locked at the same time you save it, there's this feature here where you could click, just click on the checkbox, and when you save your analysis, it will be automatically locked within Integral, and no other users will be able to make changes to it. But we won't do that today. Today is just a regular analysis. So I'm going to finish, enter your reason, and your credentials. We'll kind of just give this a second to go through and see what the progress bar going. Okay, so now if we were to Sorry, I have it maximized so it won't bring up the browser like that. So if I were to refresh the folder here, so you can see under analyses, we have this new folder, which is called test one. And you can see here, this brought over all of the results we generated from our analysis that we wanted brought over, including the Phoenix project file that was generated. Under the history file here for a save point, I've shown you the events and property drop downs here, but for save points, we have an additional audit trail specifically for save points. So when you click on this, it shows a particular save point that was generated, that it's up to date, and the user that created it. You can also download or open this analysis in Phoenix from here if you choose to. If we were to expand this, you can see there's a list of files and dependencies. This list of files are all of the results that we generated from our analysis and the revisions of those files. And then if you look under dependencies, it lists all of the source files associated with the analysis that are dependent on it. So you can see Clayton revision 1 and this dependency is up to date. And you can go through and look at all of your results. Now say the clinic or the CRO you're working with, they come back and they say that, oh, the data that we sent you for the analysis, that has to be updated. That wasn't the final analysis, right? So they send you a brand new data set. So what can you do? Well, one feature that we have here is called uploading a new revision. So basically what we could do is, and I'll demo that here. So you can see here for the Clayton file, there's an upload new revision. So I'll select that and I'll do the same thing as before. This time I want to upload the newer version of this file. So I'll select this one, select upload. You're given this warning that says, are you sure you want to upload this file as a new revision? You select OK. And then same as before, you enter an electronic signature and reason. Sign. And then refreshed, and we now have this new revision of the Clayton file. And if you refresh, so a couple of things happened. One, the data file is now, the Clayton file is now up to date. You can see here it's revision 2. If you go to the history, it also shows as revision 2. And if you want to see a comparison, between revision 1 and revision 2 of what changed, you can also generate this audit report, and you can select, the difference, include file diffs, and they'll provide you an Excel file that shows you what changed within the file. Let me see if I can demo that real quick here. So I'll go ahead and save over that one. And you can see here, here's the audit report that was generated for the file. Shows all of this information for the file, any revision changes or property changes associated with that file. And then this Excel file here that will show you what exactly changed. So you can see here on line 4 of the file, the concentration changed from 0.1 to 0. You can easily visualize that too by selecting compare. And you can see here, there's the line of data that changed between the 2 revisions. Now you're probably wondering why the folder is red. So that's a built-in feature for save points whenever they become out of date. So revision 1 was associated with the previous analysis, but not revision 2. So you can see here, if you scroll down, it shows you the save point that was affected. If we go to the history tab here, you can see that the save point is now out of date. And if you look at the dependency, that is also out of date. So what do we do? So there's two options. If you don't have the this project already open in Phoenix, you can select load save point and it'll automatically load that project and ask you if you want to refresh the source. But since we already have this already open, I'm just going to head and right click on that source file and click refresh from source. And you should get another import wizard here, which will bring in the new data, the new version of the Clayton file. And with that brought in, now you can see here that your analysis in Phoenix is also out of date, so you need to rerun your NCA. And your analysis is done, so I'm going to save again. And there's nothing I need to do here because this remembered all of my settings from the previous analysis. I'm going to click finish, updated analysis, new source. And go ahead and save. Okay, so I'll go back to the browser and I'm going to refresh. So you can see the red is now gone, which means the save point is now up to date. And if I were to click on that, just to show you in the audit trail here, you can see a new save point was created and now it's up to date. And if I click on that, it'll show that I'm using revision 2 of the Clayton file, and that is also up to date. This will also show you which files, based on the analysis, what changes were made. It'll also show you the results that had to be updated based on this new analysis. So you can see here my final parameters and final parameters pivoted files had to be updated. So those are now revision 2, as well as this image here and the rest of these files associated with the analysis. So it's only going to update the results that were affected by the change. And you can also generate audit reports and comparisons for those files as well if you want to. And not only that, but specifically for save points, you can also use the change status option. So if you want, and if you know this is the final version of the save point, you can select final here, click apply, completed final analysis. Sign. And now if you just refresh, if you click on the properties here, you can see the status here is displayed as final. And not only that, if you go to the properties, you can see that the status change here to final was also captured and has a reason associated with it. and also any events associated with the previous save of the save point that was also captured here, as you can see. And that does it for the basic demo of Certara Integral, specifically when it comes to adding and updating analyses. So let me switch back here to the main screen. And we are now at the Q&A portion of the webinar. So if you, and like I said before, if you have any questions, feel free to enter them into the chat panel. It looks like we already have a couple of questions. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at these. The first question is, can Integral be used by software other than Phoenix? Even though we did demo today using Phoenix, customers can still use Piranha, SAS, R, Python, NonMem. Any of those softwares can be used, what can be used with those is Integral's client application. And that client application allows users to be able to sync the results from these softwares. So say you had a Piranha analysis that you performed on your laptop or some other directory that you're using, and all your results are there, you can sync those results from that local directory to your Integral repository using the Integral client application. So any of those softwares can be used: SAS, Python, Piranha, NonMem, SAS. And then the second question we have is it necessary to be Part 11 compliant? So this is an important one because in order for the FDA to accept any of the results from a clinical trial, the results must be obtained and stored under 21 CFR Part 11 compliance. There's really no way to get around that. It has to be. And Integral, the way Integral is designed, it is able to meet that Part 11 compliance. All right, let's see. Do we have any other questions? I don't see any other in the chat. Please feel free to, enter in anything if you have any questions. Okay, all right, we have one here. Would you have the save point option for those other apps? Yes. So within the client application, what you basically can do is you can set up the same folder structure like I described in the demo. And what the Integral client app can do is it'll sync that empty folder structure to your local directory. And then you would use SAS, NonMem, Python, Piranha, any of those to basically place those results into that folder structure that you have locally. And the client application knows that that folder is tied to Integral. So as soon as you upload those results to those folders on those specific folders on your local directory, then you can use the client application to sync those results back to Integral. And depending on the folder that you place those in, if it's a save point folder structure, it will also create a save point within Integral. Let's see, what are the out-of-the-box prepared roles available in Integral? So we have administrator, full licensed user, QA, partner, and archivist. Each of those licenses are available for purchase. I believe out of the box with the basic roles that you could purchase would be administrator and full license user. Now each of those roles have their own particular permissions that they're allowed, but those are the licenses and roles available to Integral currently. The next question is, can data files be deleted? For example, an outdated or erroneous analysis that should not be used for reference. Yes, data files can be deleted. That is also tracked in the audit trail. So if you need to delete a file, there is a, with that ellipsis menu that I showed you next to each file, if you have delete permissions, now this is also kind of based on a user's license or role, but if they do have delete permissions, they can go ahead and delete that file. And then if they need to, say if they deleted it by mistake, they can go to the audit trail for the folder it was deleted from, and they could go to the history tab for that folder, look through the events, and you'll see that that file was deleted. And if you didn't mean to delete it, you could actually download a copy of that deleted file. So we always, nothing's ever fully deleted in Integral. We always have backups available. So in that audit trail, you could retrieve something deleted if you didn't mean to. And if there's something you didn't mean to delete, or there's something you want to make sure you don't delete, you could, apply a lock to that file so it can't be deleted. Let's see, the next question. Is the archivist role prepared to operate in a GLP environment? Yes. Yes, and the archivist role specifically, they would be able to both lock and unlock files. If you realize that you locked a file by mistake, you would have to make a request by the you'd have to make a request to the archivist to unlock that file. And locking and unlocking do require electronic signatures. Same with deleting that I mentioned earlier. And that also requires electronic signatures and reason. Okay, do we have any other questions? Okay. I think that does it with the questions. But if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to Certara, and we will try to get to those questions as soon as possible. But that does bring us to the end of today's webinar. I appreciate everyone who was able to join. I hope you're able to get a lot out of this. And like I said, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to Certara. Like I said, we'll be sending out an email with a link for the recording of this webinar. So, but yeah, oh, sorry, hold on. Do we have any other questions? Oh no, I'm sorry. Okay, that does it. All right, well, thank you very much, everyone, and I hope you have a good day. Thank you.